functional assays, and methods to detect algal toxins. Because of the complexity and unpredictability of HABs and the present lack of ability to entirely control or prevent PSP, many affected countries have either proposed or adopted various monitoring programs for toxic algal blooms and toxins in shellfish as an effective way of protecting the public and mitigating impacts to the economy and the environment. Chemical assays. The development and adoption of highly sensitive instrumentation has become the most widely used non-bioassay method for the determination of various algal toxins. The method can identify and quantify individual compounds of a toxin group. Usually, toxin components are separated by chromatography or electrophoresis and then identified using UV detection, fluorescence detection, electrochemistry, or mass spectrometry. The high-performance liquid chromatography, or HPLC, is an example that involves the separation and oxidation of the toxins present in a sample to produce fluorescent derivatives that can be quantitatively detected. This approach has been widely adopted as one of the standard methods of analysis for many algal toxins. Electrophoresis that employs a gel, a paper, or a capillary matrix approach has also been developed as an alternative to conventional fluorescence or UV detection techniques. The method also applies electric current through a matrix filled with buffer to facilitate the separation of sample into its toxin components. Liquid chromatography mass spectrometry, or LCMS, is currently the most commonly used analytical method for algal toxins. The technology works by ionizing the sample to produce charged molecules or molecular fragments, which are then separated according to their mass and charge, after which they are detected in proportion to their abundance, thus producing a mass spectrum characteristic of the toxin molecule. This technique has recently become the official reference method for analysis of various lipophilic toxins. Biological assays. Toxin detection methods based on biological parameters such as toxicological effects were the first to be developed and often the most widely used. Mouse bioassay, or MBA, which is based on the animal physiological response to the toxin, is one of the earliest methods to be developed for toxin detection. It requires the use of live laboratory animals to which samples are introduced through one of the various routes: intracranial, intramuscular, intraperitoneal, to test for sample toxicity. It has been adopted in many countries as a standard procedure for the detection of various algal toxins. Cell-based assays have been developed based on the mechanism of toxin action to disrupt normal cellular function. Examples of these functional assays involve measurements of changes in cell membrane potential, changes in intracellular calcium levels, and inhibition of phosphatase activity. These assays provide an alternative approach to detect cytotoxicity as complementary to the MBA or to analytical methods that do not give reliable information on sample toxicity. Biochemical assays. A variety of in vitro methods have been developed based on either the immunological properties, a structural-based approach, or the pharmacological action, a functional-based approach of algal toxins. Immunoassay is an antibody-based technique for the immunodetection of toxins through the specific binding of the toxin antigens to antibodies raised against it. Several formats have been adopted using this approach, including lateral flow devices, or LFD, standard ELISA kits, and surface plasmon resonance platforms. Multiplexing of immunoassays has also been developed that allows for the simultaneous detection of different toxin arrays in a single test. Immunodetection of several aquatic algal toxins have also carried out using biosensors. Biosensor is a recent technological development that uses a biological, such as tissue, cell, membrane, antibody, and other macromolecules, or a biomimetic component, such as synthetic receptors, as the analyte recognition element. The system uses transducers, such as carbon electrodes, gold nanoparticles, graphene nanostructures, or FET devices to detect the interaction of the analyte with the sensor. Receptor-based binding assay is a functional assay based on the mechanism of toxin action. It involves competition between a radio-labeled ligand and the toxin for binding to a specific receptor site. Scintillation, or gamma counting, is used to detect the bound radioactive ligand and indirectly measure the toxin in the sample. Similar to MBA, this method provides an estimate of toxicity because the toxin is bound by the receptor at an affinity equivalent to its toxic potency. The technique has also been accepted as reference procedure for detection of several toxins.